The first time I saw a harp ever was in the Walt Disney film Fantasia, and I remember the silhouette of the harps. They were black and they were at the top of the orchestra, and that was what really drew me to the harp. And then my parents, I was brought up on the Wirral, and my parents brought me to a Liverpool Phil concert, and I remember then thinking I really want to play the harp. From a very early age, I was about 6. I think all instruments have their own difficulties and joys of playing. I mean, I think what I like most about playing the harp is that I'm quite often on my own, which I quite like in the orchestra. I like sort of not being in a section. I think it just suits where I'm at, and I enjoy that. I also really enjoy the fact that it's a complete instrument on its own, as well as working with a team. Sometimes for the Mahler, I have moved over to be near the basses, because obviously there's an awful lot, for instance, in the fifth movement, in the Fifth Symphony with the Adagietto. It's really useful, certainly, to at least be able to see the basses and have some contact with them. I remember the first time I did it was at the Royal Northern College of Music when I was a student, and my teacher actually sat next to me in the first rehearsal, Jean Bell from the Halle, just to sort of, because it's the timing, it's the timing that is so important. Another useful thing about sitting next to the wind is that if they've got a note to play, you can hear them breathe, so it gives you a better idea of where to actually pluck the note, because obviously it's very instant. You can't creep in, say, like you can on a violin, or, you know, once you've plucked it, that's it. So it's that's quite the hard part of playing it, but that's, you know, obviously that's the enjoyable part of being in an orchestra, is playing it with other people, but the instrument itself is unique in the orchestra. Something like the Fifth Symphony, where I don't play in 2 of the movements, and sometimes, you know, you have to keep really focused for what you're about to do, which again isn't hard with Vasily, because he does draw you into the performance, even if you have periods of time when you're not playing. I found that in Parsifal. We did Parsifal earlier this year, and I don't play for the first hour and a half, but it absolutely flew by. It was just so, you know, just being part of it and being in it. And I just feel, you know, again, when we do these Mahler symphonies, that you are drawn in, and actually I personally never feel there's that much time for thinking about other things, because you just have to be so focused on what you're doing throughout the whole symphony. The thing I like most about working with Vasily is that he's very, very clear about what he wants. He has fresh and individual ideas, which sometimes, having played something in a certain way, is quite difficult to accept. But often I feel that, you know, once we've sort of discussed something, it's brilliant to still sort of, having been doing it for a long time, but still have fresh ways and new ideas and new thoughts on the same pieces. So yes, I mean, I would never, ever not enjoy playing a Mahler symphony. It never becomes repetitive or tedious, ever.